Here's the thing that I got wrong is I didn't know. This was all press I was doing for Unfrosted. I did a bunch of it, and I enjoyed all of it. I did not know that people care what comedians say. That literally came as news to me. I don't think as I said, the extreme left has done anything to inhibit the art of comedy.
Right.
I'm taking that back now officially. They have not.
All right, as you can see, we are on the Young Turks today. Ana Kasparian and Cenk Uygur are going to talk about a recent interview which Jerry Seinfeld gave, where he walked back a claim he made a few months ago that the extreme left, he said extreme left to be fair, had killed comedy. And Jerry Seinfeld has said a few things over the last few years about how, comedians, or maybe he specifically, can't play on college campuses because the audiences there are so politically correct, and it's just no fun anymore. And I'm shocked and surprised because, of course, he's a very, very, very middle of the road comedian, very, very wholesome from all I've seen. And if he pushes things a bit, it's very gentle compared to a lot of much, much more offensive comedians, boundary pushing comedians. But let's see. It'll be interesting to see what Ana Kasparian and Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks say about this.
But they have. Wait, what? Okay, so he is all of a sudden backtracking on a statement he made back in April where he said that the left ruined comedy. Now look, the left ruining comedy, hyperbolic. That is a little bit ridiculous. But do some factions of the left try to police comedy because they take great offense to funny comedy? Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do, but I agree with Jerry. Like, I get his frustration. So, like, whenever they're busting Kamala Harris or some corporate Democrat on some extreme left thing that they did, and we're supposed to be to the left of them, and we are, but on economic issues, on things that make sense, they're like, aha, and you agreed, said this. I never agreed to any of that. I'm on the record. Whenever the Democrats go too far, I go, no, not buying it. I'm not in favor of that. I don't think we should pay for undocumented trans surgeries while they're in custody. I don't know why we're doing that.
Wow, unfathomably based take by Cenk Uygur there. He's against American taxpayers' dollars being used to pay for undocumented illegals to get transgender surgery.
They're not American citizens, etc. And watch, like leftists will get super mad about me saying that.
No, they're melting down right now.
Right, and so I never agreed to any of the extreme stuff, but there was a moment where I got so frustrated with the police abuse. I originally was against defund the police very strongly, and they got tons of pushback on that.
I remember, yep.
And for like a minute, I was like, God damn it, maybe we should defund the police. And then I regained my senses and went back to my original position. So I understand where Jerry's coming from. He got frustrated by the leftists, who, you're right, do exist, who are like, you can't joke about that, and you can't joke about this, and do you know how insensitive it is to joke about that?
Yeah,
right?
The killjoys who could very easily just not go to a comedy show that they find offensive.
Yeah.
It's called making decisions for yourself. And if you
listen to Ana Kasparian being very reasonable.
Don't like the comedy, don't consume the comedy and move on with your life.
Yeah, and so, but
you don't get to be the arbiter of like what kind of comedy everyone else gets to hear.
Yes and no. So now, but I agree with Jerry that he
yes and no. You don't get to be the arbiter of what kind of comedy everybody else gets to like, says Ana Kasparian very reasonably. And Cenk says yes and no. It's like, no, Cenk, the only answer is yes, correct.
He did go too far, and I like that he's bringing it back, okay?
All right.
So, because what he's saying is, look, guys, we got to read the room. That's our job as comics. And Bill Burr's been saying that. A lot of top comics are saying that now. So the momentum has swung from stop crying about people's complaints and do goddamn comedy, okay?
Well, that I agree with. Like, I also can't stand comedians incessantly whining about people being offended by their jokes. I get that it's annoying. I get that it's frustrating when people are trying to police your comedy, but also let's not forget who has the power here.
Yeah, so let me give you an example of, in my opinion, where we went too far, where the comics went too far, right? But to distinguish between who's right and wrong. Anyway, so for a while, every comedy set was about, oh, they don't let me make this joke, but watch this. trans people, you suck. I'm like, that's not a joke.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'd watch there for half an hour, and guys who were enormously funny before, like Dave Chappelle, all of a sudden like doing nothing but like, I'm so bold because I say things that people hate. No, you have to actually include a joke, right? But I then saw the Ricky Gervais special, and I was like, look, I don't want him beating up on trans people again, like every other comic, and I heard that he did in his set, and I was super frustrated. Then I watched it, and I was like, no, that was funny. And he wasn't beating up on them. He was making a joke and then saying, but guys, of course we don't believe that. It's called comedy, right? And he shouldn't have to explain that. You should be able to get it from the way that he makes the joke, and I did. But the times being what they were, I appreciate that he even clarified, right? So I thought,
if you have to clarify something like that and you're a big comedian like Ricky Gervais, you're already playing their game. You're already in their pocket.
Gervais did it exactly right. Chappelle, as much as I respected him in the past, I thought was so unfunny for so many specials.
They turned into lectures. Like,
yeah.
Some of those specials did turn into lectures, and it's like, I get that you are frustrated at the backlash you're getting, but it's getting to your head too much, and it's hurting your comedy. Like, move on.
100.
Again, Ana Kasparian makes a good point. Comedians shouldn't bitch about this. And as Cenk, to be fair, made a point about reading the room. I agree with that. I mean, you should play for your audience. You know, a comedian's got a job to do. His job is to make people laugh, and certain audiences won't like certain types of stuff. You know, Jerry Seinfeld, for example, was a very clean comedian. You know, and somebody going to see him would be shocked to hear, you know, some sort of insult comic or an real offensive comic. So yeah, you got to read the room, but that's more specific. We're talking about the culture in general here. And it is lame. I agree, it's lame. I didn't see any of those Dave Chappelle specials, and I didn't see the Ricky Gervais special that Cenk is mentioning. But so I don't know. You know, you always got to take what he says with a grain of salt. But if he was bitching and moaning about how things are so PC, yeah, that's lame. You should make a joke about it. Is what you should do. Obviously, you should lampoon it. You should make people laugh about how it's so stupid.
Move on.
So it then became like some sort of like debate between leftists and comics, and nobody was having fun.
100%.
So when Burr and the others and now Jerry are saying, no, let's get back to comedy and not worry about what the critics are saying. We're comics. So just do your comedy, and if it's funny, people will love it. And do you have to change with the times sometimes? Of course. People used to use the N-word in comedy all the time. They don't use it anymore because people are like, whoa, that's weird. Why are you hateful, right? Because our culture changed, and you got to change with that. You can't be like a cranky old 98-year-old comic going, I remember when we used to be able to say hateful things and people laughed. Now they're not even laughing at it anymore. Yeah, they're not.
Or you just have to find the right room.
So move, find something funny.
Okay, I remember, there's that NFL guy who's kind of cute and was married to Gisele Bündchen. What was his name?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, okay.
There's that NFL guy.
So they did a roast of him.
They did.
And it was great. Like there were a lot of offensive jokes, and it was great. Sometimes you just want to laugh. You want to be able to laugh at yourself. You want to be able to just like take some of these issues that are heavy, serious issues and make light of them. Honestly, for a lot of people, the way that they cope with these heavy, difficult, terrible issues in the world is finding the humor in it or resorting to humor in order to cope with it. Like there is an incredibly important role for comedy in today's society. And I just take issue with any group, whether it's leftists, people on the right, I don't care, trying to be the arbiters of what is and is not acceptable comedy.
Yeah, but both sides have to adjust, right?
I agree, yes, I do. I agree with that. So if audiences aren't liking your comedy because you're going too far and you're not selling tickets to your shows, don't cry about it. That's when you have to adjust.
Yep.
But also, let's give comedians the space and the room to fail.
Yeah, Anna makes a good point again. Obviously, if you're in business of being a comedian, you got to sell your audience, you know, your customers what they want. And if you don't do that over a long enough period, you won't have an audience anymore. On the other hand, plenty of comics, like to offend people, and they like to go to the edge. They like to step over the edge, maybe dive over the edge even, and come back, bring the audience with them. There's lots of different comedians. I'm thinking of like Louis C.K. He's quite well known for doing that. Yes, Cenk, you can say offensive words. You can say slur words, racial slurs, ethnic slurs. You can say all that if you do it right. There's definitely an audience for that. And it's not just racists and fascists. But anyway, they're kind of being, Cenk as usual. I disagree. I just don't like the guy, frankly. Anna's being pretty reasonable, I think. But it could be a bit more strident. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about all this. And while you're at it, like and subscribe. Really helps me grow the channel and continue making content for you.